We open on a man who has everything figured out. Will Traynor is wealthy, confident, and effortlessly charming. He lives in a castle, not metaphorically, an actual castle. He travels the world, takes risks for fun, and moves through life like someone who has never once doubted that it belongs to him. He has a beautiful girlfriend, a career that demands the best from him. One ordinary rainy morning, he's running late. Distracted, mid-phone call, he steps off the curb to flag a cab without really looking. A horn blares. Tires scream. Cut to black. Now meet the other half of this story. Louisa Clark, Lou, is the kind of person who decorates her life in bright colors because the world around her is a little too gray. She's a waitress at a small-town cafe serving coffee and cake with a smile that never quite turns off. But then the cafe closes. Her boss apologizes, genuinely means it, and tells her there's nothing he can do. Just like that, Lou's comfortable little life falls apart. Back home, the weight of that is immediate. Lou's family is solidly working class. The news of her job loss turns dinner into an argument. Her mother, though, never loses faith. She's convinced Lou will find something new quickly. The next morning, Lou meets her boyfriend Patrick at the local athletics track. He's training, he's always training, and between strides he tells her not to panic. The world is full of jobs. Keep trying. She nods along, grateful for the encouragement, even if it doesn't quite reach her. Then she walks into an employment office with very little to offer and even less experience outside of cafe work. The officer flips through her file, a string of short-lived attempts at different things, nothing that stuck, and tells her there's only one opening left that might work. A caretaker position. For a disabled man, no special qualifications needed, just patience, presence, and the ability to show up. Lou says yes before she fully understands what she's walking into. The address takes her to the grounds of an old estate, the kind of place that makes you feel underdressed just standing at the gate. Lou, in her colorful tights and barely contained nerves, walks up to the door and immediately feels out of her depth. The interview is with Camilla Traynor, composed, immaculate, the kind of woman who irons her emotions before letting them show. Lou's interview goes sideways almost immediately. She talks too much. Her skirt rides up at the wrong moment. She rambles through questions she hasn't prepared for and can't seem to stop herself even when she knows she should. But underneath all the awkwardness, something genuine keeps coming through. An honesty, a warmth, a complete inability to pretend to be someone she's not. Camilla notices. She sees through the noise to the person underneath. Can you start immediately? Lou nearly falls off her chair. Camilla then takes her on a tour of the house and explains what the job actually involves. Her son, Will, was in an accident 2 years ago. He's a quadriplegic, paralyzed from the chest down. His physical care and therapy is handled by Nathan, a trained physiotherapist. What Will needs, what Camilla desperately quietly wants for him, is human connection, a companion. Lou nods, processing all of this. She's still just relieved she has a job. She has no idea what's actually waiting for her. Nothing prepares her for Will Traynor. He's in a wheelchair, unshaven, hair unkempt. The moment Lou walks in, he starts making strange, unsettling sounds, watching her reaction with cold amusement, testing her. When she doesn't run, he shifts to words, sharp ones, sardonic, the kind designed to make people uncomfortable enough to keep their distance. Lou goes home that evening rattled, wondering if she's made a terrible mistake. But she goes back the next morning. Every day she arrives in her ridiculous outfits, mismatched, colorful, unapologetically herself, and Will stares at her like she's a puzzle he hasn't decided whether to bother solving. He can't quite understand how someone can be embarrassed so easily and yet keep showing up anyway. He tells her she talks too much. He says it bluntly, without softening it. When you're around me, talk less. Lou tries to hide that it stings. Her face gives her away entirely. She starts eating lunch alone in the garden, away from the house, away from him, just to get through the day without crying. And yet, she keeps coming back. Nathan, Will's physiotherapist, tries to help Lou find her footing in those early days. She asks him directly, "What exactly am I supposed to do here?" Nathan doesn't have a clean answer. He tells her gently that maybe her job is just to make Will happy. It's not the job description Lou was expecting, but she holds on to it. Then one morning, Lou arrives to find that Will has visitors. His best friend Rupert has come, and with him, Alicia, Will's ex-girlfriend. Camilla's expression when they arrive tells Lou everything. She doesn't want this visit happening. She's worried about what it will do to Will. The conversation between the three of them is polite on the surface, strained underneath. And then Rupert delivers the real news, the reason they came together. He and Alicia are engaged. They wanted to tell Will in person. Will goes very still. His expression doesn't crack. He congratulates them. Lou stands to one side, watching, and feels the weight of what Will is carrying in that moment. His best friend, his former girlfriend, a life that moved on without him. As Alicia is leaving, she pulls Lou aside. She tells her that after the accident she had wanted to stay. She had tried. But there is a limit to how much you can help someone who has decided not to be helped. After they leave, she hears a crash from another room. She goes to look. A framed photograph is shattered on the floor. He did it himself. Things come to a head not long after. Lou is in Will's room, quietly trying to straighten the broken photo frame, putting it back together without being asked. Will wheels in and sees what she's doing. He tells her to stop. He doesn't want it fixed. He doesn't want any of those photos around anymore. Every image of who he used to be is a reminder of everything he's lost, and he doesn't need that sitting on his shelf every day. He raises his voice. He tells her she had no right to touch his things without asking. And this time, Lou doesn't absorb it quietly. She snaps back. She tells him she hasn't done anything wrong. She tells him she doesn't deserve to be spoken to this way. And then, surprising even herself, she says it straight. I don't want to be here any more than you want me here. I need the money. That's why I'm doing this. So stop taking it out on me. The room goes quiet. Will stares at her. And something in that honesty, the complete absence of performance or pity, reaches him somewhere that nothing else has. That same afternoon, he asks if she wants to watch a film with him. It's a foreign film, subtitles. Not Lou's thing at all. She agrees anyway. By the end of it, she's completely absorbed. They talk about it afterward. A real conversation, back and forth. Will suggests they go outside after. Just like that. They do. And something between them quietly begins. Camilla notices the shift. In a long time, something in Will's eyes looks different. She doesn't say much. Meanwhile, Lou's sister Trina drops news of her own. She's thinking about going back to school. It's the right move for Trina, and Lou knows it. But it also means Lou will be the one left holding everything at home. More responsibility, less room for herself. She understands. She doesn't say how much it costs her. Then comes a hospital trip with Nathan that recalibrates everything for Lou. Nathan doesn't sugarcoat it. Will's paralysis isn't just the wheelchair. He is in constant chronic pain. Not occasionally, not when he overdoes it, but always, every day, without relief. His immune system is severely compromised. Infections that would sideline a healthy person for a week could hospitalize Will for months, and there is no recovery at the end of this road. This is the rest of his life. Lou sits with that on the drive home. That evening, she goes to the cinema with Patrick. She suggests a foreign film, something with a bit more substance. He buys comedy tickets without consulting her and hands her one with a grin. Winter settles in, and Will gets sick. His father asks Lou to keep an eye on him while Nathan is away. She stays close, checking on him through the evening. Will, half asleep, waves her off. He'll be fine. Don't fuss. But as the hours pass, his condition worsens. By the time Nathan arrives and sees him, the alarm on Nathan's face is immediate. He moves fast, doing everything he can to stabilize Will before it becomes something worse. In the chaos of that night, Lou catches a glimpse of Will's wrists. Everything she thought she understood about Will rearranges itself in an instant. It was a man in tremendous pain trying very hard not to show it. She stays with him that night, not because anyone asks her to, because she cannot bring herself to leave him alone. When the danger passes and Will drifts into proper sleep, Lou sits with him in the quiet and watches an old birthday video that his friends had made. Will, before the accident, laughing loudly, dancing, grabbing at life with both hands. When he wakes and finds her still there, still in the chair beside his bed, he doesn't tell her to go. They talk through the rest of the night, slowly, honestly. The walls, for once, are down. Then comes the moment that turns everything on its head. Lou overhears Will's parents arguing. She freezes in the hallway. What she learns stops her cold. Will has made an arrangement. In 6 months, he intends to travel to a clinic in Switzerland, to die on his own terms. He has already decided. His mother is barely holding herself together. She cannot accept it. His father, quietly and with great pain, believes it is Will's right, that they cannot take that choice away from him, even if it destroys them both. Lou stands in that hallway completely alone with something she doesn't know what to do with. She nearly quits the next morning. She's ready to walk away from all of it. Her sister Trina stops her. She sits Lou down and says the one thing that makes her reconsider. You have 6 months. What if you could change his mind? What if she could show Will that this life with all its limitations and difficulty, is still worth living? Lou goes back. And this time, she tells Camilla and Will's father what she's thinking. She wants to take Will places, push him out into the world, make him feel something again. They look at her with the eyes of two people who have been waiting for someone to say exactly this. Lou's first attempt is a horse racing event. She tells Will that Nathan has never been and wants to go, a small, see-through lie. Will sees right through it and comes anyway. At the track, his wheelchair sinks into the soft ground and gets badly stuck. Several strangers have to come over and physically lift him out. Will goes quiet. These are the moments he dreads most. Later, at a restaurant, they are turned away. No accessible space, they're told. Lou doesn't accept it quietly. She makes a scene, loudly. Will is simultaneously furious and mortified. The day ends in tension. On the drive home, neither of them says much. But Lou doesn't stop. She gets tickets to a Mozart concert, something entirely outside her own experience, which is exactly the point. Will resists at first. She wears him down. That evening, Will puts on a suit. Lou puts on a dress and is, by any measure, stunning. The two of them together look like something out of another world entirely. The concert itself is beautiful, but Will spends as much time watching Lou experience it for the first time as he does listening to the music. On the way home, he asks the driver to go slower. He doesn't want the night to end. They sit in the car in the dark and listen to music in silence, both of them content for once just to be exactly where they are. Lou's birthday arrives. She invites Will to dinner at her family home. It's warm and chaotic and nothing like the world Will comes from. Mismatched crockery, crowded table, everyone talking at once. And Will, to his own surprise, enjoys it. He fits in somehow. The family likes him. He makes them laugh. Then Patrick walks in. He arrived late at his own girlfriend's birthday. Will flirts with Lou deliberately, not because he's cruel, but because somewhere in him a competitive instinct has woken up, and watching Patrick's jaw tighten gives him more satisfaction than he expected. Patrick, stewing, produces a gift. A necklace, the kind of thing you buy when you're not really paying attention to who you're buying for. Lou performs delight. Oh wow, it's so lovely. She's terrible at lying, but she tries. Will bought Lou tights, something she mentioned months ago. He remembered. She hadn't expected that. And then she bursts into happy, overwhelmed tears and dances around the room clutching it, completely unself-consciously, while everyone watches. The next day, Will takes Lou on a tour of a nearby castle, and standing there, he tells her about his favorite place in the world, a small cafe in Paris, tucked away, nothing remarkable about it from the outside. He used to go whenever he needed to think, or not think. He loved it. Let's go then, Lou says immediately. Will shakes his head. He wants to go back there the way he used to go. Not like this. He won't go as a diminished version of himself to a place that holds the memory of who he was. The words land quietly between them. Lou doesn't push. Back home, Lou's father announces he has a new job, maintenance work at the castle estate. Will's father arranged it. Lou feels a flicker of discomfort at that. She doesn't want her family caught up in all of this in ways she didn't choose. But Will reads her immediately. He tells her not to overthink it. It doesn't mean anything complicated. It just means her father has a job, and she doesn't have to carry everyone on her own anymore. She's allowed to let that be a good thing. Rupert and Alicia's wedding arrives. Will and Lou go together. It should be excruciating, attending your ex's wedding in a wheelchair, surrounded by the world you used to belong to, and for the first hour, it is. People who don't know what to say to Will and say too much or too little. But Lou has a couple of drinks and loosens up. She starts nudging Will into conversations. A friend of Will's from before pulls Lou aside. She tells her plainly, Will is not like other people. He never was, and whoever gets to be in his life should understand what that means. She tells Lou she seems like exactly the right person. Lou listens. Something settles in her. She goes back to Will, takes a breath, and wheels him onto the dance floor. People turn to look. Neither of them cares even slightly. They dance, or something like dancing, Will's own version of it, and the room fades away. Later, outside in the cool dark, Will races his wheelchair down the road at full speed. Lou is laughing and holding on from his lap. The two of them, alone on a night road, howling with laughter. The fallout comes quickly. The next morning, Camilla sees that Will was out all night and is alarmed. Nathan notes that Will had been drinking and he's not supposed to, but both of them notice something they can't ignore. Will looks different. There's something in his face that hasn't been there since before the accident. Meanwhile, Lou and Patrick go running together. Lou realizes during the run that she'll need to stay with Will during the upcoming holiday period. She can't go with Patrick on the trip he's been planning. Patrick doesn't take it well. He's been watching this shift for weeks. He knows, even if he hasn't put it into words, that something has changed. Lou is giving Will things she isn't giving him anymore. Time, attention, the full version of herself. He storms off. Lou lets him go and feels the complicated weight of knowing she can't really argue with what he's feeling. And then, the worst part. Lou finds out that Will hasn't changed his mind. The Swiss clinic is still in his plans. The 6 months are ticking down and nothing she has done has moved him from that. She isn't done yet. Lou pours everything into one final plan. She researches obsessively, books everything meticulously. A warm weather trip, sun, ocean, beauty. The night before they leave, Patrick shows up unannounced with a surprise planned for just the two of them. When he realizes Lou is leaving the next morning on a trip with Will, not him, the surprise turns into a confrontation. He feels betrayed. He says as much loudly. He can't understand how she doesn't see what she's doing. He leaves without giving her a chance to explain. Lou watches him go. She doesn't chase him. The trip is everything she hoped it would be. Warm air, blue water, days that unspool gently with nowhere urgent to be. They sit by the pool, they sit by the beach. They're easy with each other in a way that feels like they've arrived somewhere they didn't realize they were heading toward. One evening, a storm rolls in. Lou helps Will through his nighttime routine, getting him settled, making sure he's comfortable. The room is quiet except for the rain, and then the moment simply happens. She lies down beside him. They hold on to each other, and they kiss. The next morning, the world looks different. Something has shifted that cannot be unshifted. She carries it around for a day. Then she tells him everything, what she feels, what she's been feeling. Will listens to all of it. And then he says what he has to say. I love you too. I have loved you for a while. He's being the most honest he's ever been with her. He does not want her to reshape her entire life around a man who will only ever be able to give her part of what she deserves. He has thought about this more than she knows. He has made his peace with it in a way that she hasn't. Lou tells him he's selfish, that he's making a choice that affects both of them and only consulting himself. He doesn't argue with her, he absorbs it, and he holds his ground. She cries, she packs, she leaves the place. He sits there in dark, and for the first time in the whole film, his face gives way. Back home, everything feels different and smaller. Lou tells her family everything. Her mother is furious, at Will, at the unfairness of it, at the idea that this is somehow an acceptable outcome. She can't contain it. Her father is different. He waits until the noise dies down, and then he sits with Lou quietly and says, You cannot change a person. All you can do is love them as they are, and hope that love is enough. It is not a solution. It doesn't fix anything, but it shifts something in Lou, some resistance she's been holding. She can't make Will want to live, but she can choose whether he faces the end of his life alone. She books a flight. She goes to Switzerland. She arrives at the clinic. She doesn't plead. She doesn't argue. She walks into the room. She lies down beside him. She takes his hand, and she stays. That is what she can give him. That is what she chooses to give him. Not a reason to reconsider, just the certainty that he is not alone, that someone who knows exactly who he is and loves him anyway is right here beside him. They hold on to each other. Weeks later, a small cafe. Louisa Clark sits alone with a letter in her hands. This is the place, Will's place, his favorite cafe in all of Paris, in all of the world. The letter is in his handwriting. In it, Will thanks her for being the most colorful, infuriating, genuine person he met in the last chapter of his life, and for making that chapter something worth having. He tells her to stop living small, to go further than she thought she could, to not wait for someone to give her permission to want more. Lou folds the letter carefully. She looks out at the Paris street, a city full of people living, moving, arguing, laughing, the whole loud, beautiful mess of it. She takes a breath, and she steps out into it.